Good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing good. Today is our third session of the starting three sessions that we planned to start. Can you all hear me? Hi, Satish.
Hi
Hi,
Jay, how are
Shweta. Hi,
you? We can hear
Fiona.
you.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank
Very
you.
good,
Hi,
very
Saurabh,
good.
Archana, Tanveer, Supreet,
Hi, good evening,
David,
Hi.
Sonia,
everybody.
Archana. Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good
Hello,
evening,
everyone.
good evening. Guys, you know what? It's Saturday and you guys are all logged in, so this is something really, really important, right? So I'm very excited for you. Even though it's a Saturday, you guys all showed up. This shows that how much you're serious about your career. And I do want to tell you, myself and my team and Jay, and we are also very serious about your career. And you have made it to the third session. You attended the first two and the third. We will from Monday, from next week onwards. The training days are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and it can go all the way till 10. Jay will slowly take you into BA, and then we'll take you into ServiceNow. All the concepts, everything will start getting more clear to you. In the beginning, there are a lot of people who are new to IT, and there are some who have been in IT before who are familiar with this role. It doesn't matter. What you really want to understand is how to understand what is the BA role and what are their deliverables and what is their role in a ServiceNow projects and how are we going to operate and what kind of modules we are going to work with. So all of this download Jay is going to give you. Okay, Jay is going to give you the knowledge. He's going to help you understand how to work in this project. My job is once you finish the training, I will help you market your resume and get the interview calls for you, get you guys up to the speed. And once you get into the job, we'll give you project support, job support, so that you can finish your first project successful. Is that what you guys want, or is there anything else I've not covered? Anybody? All good?
Yeah, all good, Satish. Yeah.
All right. Okay, guys, stay excited. 2026 is your year. Let's get into this technology, become a consultant, and bring money home. Okay. I wish you all the best. I'm going to ask Jay to take over. I'll come in the end and I'll sum it up. Okay. Thank you, Jay. You can start the session. Here we go. I'll
Sure,
make you the
sure,
host.
sure, Satish. Sure. Thank you so much, Satish.
No problem. Here we go.
Perfect. Let me share my screen quickly and then we'll get started. Let me know if my screen is up.
Yes, Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll take a step back and we'll look at what we covered in the first two class, a quick recap, and then we'll look at what we're going to deliver today. So we started with BA roles and responsibilities. We understood who is a BA, what he does, what are the responsibilities, and in the next session, session number two, we looked at that BA, where BA exactly would be performing these responsibilities. So here will be part of a project. So what are the different types of project, different phases of project? We looked at SDLC, right? Now, when we talk about project and we talked about software development life cycle, what are the different phases? So there is a way to deliver a project, right? That you could follow some principles. There should be some guidelines, right? So today we are going to learn about how do we deliver a project, as in what all guidelines we will follow. So I'll start with, or some of you who are from the IT background would know this. There is one way that has been in the system for long, that is known as waterfall method. So what are the method? One of the method of delivering the project is waterfall method. We will look at what is waterfall method. now. So I'll start with the first one, waterfall method. Like in the last class, we discussed about the different phases: requirement gathering, then design, and after that, development, testing, and then UAT, and finally moving it to the prod, develop as in deployment, right? But when we have these phases, this has to be followed via method. So one of the method is waterfall method. What is waterfall? Waterfall is a linear and sequential approach. So this approaches this that will go in this sequence. So waterfall method will follow this sequence. That we will be moving in this sequence only. First, we'll start with requirement gathering, design, dev, test, UAT, prod. Now you would be asking that what is the difference? We follow this sequence only. Then why do we have waterfall? The waterfall method tells you that you will have to first complete requirement gathering, then only you can move to design. Once you complete
पत्थर
design,
बनाने की
then you
मशीन
will
लेता
move
हूँ
to dev.
तो क्या पत्थर जो होता है ना भंडारण में जो पत्थर यूज होता है बनाने की मशीन ले लो बहुत बढ़िया उसका काम
Once we complete one phase, then only I can move to another phase. So this is what waterfall method suggests. So the flow is requirement, then you move to design, then we will move to development, testing, deployment, and maintenance, right? Now, when we are following this approach, suppose I have completed design, then I'll move to dev, test, UAT, prod. So the advantage, there will be some advantage and disadvantage of using this methodology. So the advantage is clear structure that I should have clearly known when I was doing requirement gathering that this is it, that I have a planned product, that I want this and this has to be delivered at the end. So in the starting itself, whatever I have gathered, I will be taking it as source of truth. Remember this word, source of truth. As in, you take something as a base and you will be keeping the same throughout the project lifecycle, as in throughout the SDLC. And at the end, you will deliver it. Now, what is the benefit? The benefit is that you know everything from the starting, that this is what it is going to be. But what is the downside of it? The positive is that you know, but the downside is it is not the case all the time. What I mean is that, but sometimes, when not sometimes, most of the time, when you are working on something, you do not know how it is going to shape in future. Suppose maybe today you have an understanding that I want to start a product which should have, or maybe today I'm thinking that I'll have a product which will have 10 features, right? And throughout, when I started requirement gathering, designing, when I started development, in mid, I realized that maybe these out of this 10, two features are obsolete. Maybe they're not required at all. Or maybe you might think that you need four additional features. So in that way, making change is not possible in waterfall method. So it has a problem that you cannot change this project midway. So legacy, not legacy, but from longer time we have been following waterfall. But it has been over a decade now. The focus has shifted from waterfall method, and we have shifted to a new method. The new method is known as agile. What is agile? We'll talk about it in a while. But before that, waterfall method is a method that follows a sequential approach that says that once you complete one phase, then only you can move to second. And at any point that after development, you cannot uh, say that let's. I mean, here I have encountered some new requirement, and maybe I'll get back to requirement gathering and again uh, create it, that you will again go back. No. Once if you find something new, then you will keep it as a backlog and you will go to testing, deployment, maintenance. Once this is completed, then only when you start again with a new release, then those additional requirements will be taken. So the advantage is that if you have a clear picture in your mind, what is it that you require at the end of the deployment, and it is not going to change, then you will use waterfall. And if there is a requirement that, there might be some changes, or you can expect those changes to take place, that is a then you cannot make those changes, and that is a downside. Even here, once you are in requirement gathering, designing, development, and testing, until unless you come in testing phase, you will not be seeing any working product. Suppose this entire duration of this project is right from first phase to the last. Maybe it is for, uh, let me call it 3 months. Okay, until and unless we reach at this test phase, which is usually would be by the end of second month or maybe third month, starting of third month, you will not be able to see any working prototype or maybe working product. So it's difficult to get the working product in the starting. You will only get it at the end. Now to overcome these challenges, like working product is one, uh, then no changes being introduced during the SDLC. So all of those issues have been taken care, and then a solution has been devised. And this is what we will be looking into, a new methodology which is known as Agile. Now, Agile is being used for more than 10 years now, and the focus has completely shifted from waterfall to Agile methodologies. Even today also there are few projects being run in waterfall, but the majority of the projects, I will call it 80% of the projects runs in Agile. And this also tie back to one of our starting session where we mentioned that you need to have two certifications, right? One of the certification is your ServiceNow CSA, and another certification is Scrum Master. Scrum Master will now come into the place. How? We will look into it. So let me go to the other method, which is Agile. Agile is a process, or in a simple words, I can call it, it's a way of working which says that you should have a mindset which focuses on flexibility, collaboration, customer value, and quick delivery. So what does Agile says? Let me first mark it here. That you focus on customer, we focus on collaboration, and there is continuous communication. We are flexible, and we are focusing more on quick delivery. Now, in this way, can we please go on mute if you're not speaking? So in this way, we are addressing whatever has been missing in waterfall. For example, no changes. Since I am flexible, I can accommodate those changes. How and when, we will look into it in a while. Then second, working product. Yes, we are showing a quick delivery. How, that also we'll see. Then communication and collaboration, as I mentioned, that you will not be able to see anything until unless you come to this testing and UAT phase. But here, right from the first to the last, we are having continuous collaboration and communication. And in the last, we want to deliver a customer value, as in that we are delivering values to the customer. How? By making a product that is uh, that is being continuously talked about and being we are taking the feedback continuously. How that will look into while. Now in Agile, how we work is that we have short development cycles, which we call them as sprint. So sprint is a short development cycle, or we also call as time boxed iterations. I'll give you a simple example or simple how it works. So in uh, I'll take this example only that I have a project that's starting from requirement gathering, design, dev, test, UAT, prod, and we are saying that we will deliver it in 3 months, right? How do we deliver it through sprint? That instead of saying 3 months, I'll have a development cycle which is for like the sprint is usually between 2 to 4 weeks, minimum 2 weeks, maximum 4 weeks. And in that sprint, once I have gathered requirement, I'll create user stories. What is user story? I'll talk in a while. I will create user stories and then I will deliver it within this 2 weeks and 4 weeks. So instead of not delivering, suppose my entire project has 25, I would call it 25 functional requirement. So instead of 25 functional requirement for this entire project for 3 months, what I'll do, I'll take first 2 week and I'm saying out of 25, I will focus on the important and the high priority one or maybe low priority, whatever I want to pick, and I will deliver only five. I'll work on those five. I will deliver these five requirements. I'll show how it is working in test, and then I will take a feedback from the client. Are we okay with this requirement? In that case, if I require any change for the other one, I can take it in the next sprint. Then I'll work in the next sprint, which might be for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, however I want, and then maybe another sprint. So I've divided my work into smaller sprint, and each sprint I can show something working. It will not be a complete product, but it will be a smaller functionality that is working. So in that way, you would have heard about a term called MVP. MVP is known as minimum viable product. What is MVP? Suppose this is my entire product that I want to deliver. Okay, what I'm saying that maybe it in total it has 80 features, right? That I'm going to deliver in next 3 months or 4 months. What I'm saying that I will be first looking at creating an MVP. MVP is a shorter version of the entire product in which I'm saying the important features. Even any application you pick, that application will have star features. That those features are highlight of that application. So I need those features. On top of it, I need another features also. But first I look at MVP so that I can deliver that MVP. Then I can build on other features on top of it. Maybe I can deliver MVP quickly in the first month, and then additional features can be added on top of it. So MVP will be a smaller version, or as the name suggests, MVP, which will deliver my important. At least I'll say that my product is being is getting into shape. from here. It will be my base, and then let's start creating other features of it. So in Agile, I want to deliver my complete project into smaller sprints. What is sprint? What happens in sprint? I will be mentioning in a while. Before I move forward, any question from anyone on what is, though I have a slide covering both of these, agile versus waterfall. Waterfall is a linear phase approach. Requirements are fixed uh, early. Fixed means not the one which we are going to provide a solution and all. It means they are decided early. Less customer involvement. This is slow to deliver and hard to incorporate changes. On the other side, if I come to agile, it is iterative cycle. Requirements keep evolving, right? Heavy customer involvement because we are involving customer in these smaller sprint and we are informing them. It provides a frequent delivery, and whatever changes we're having, we will welcome those changes. So you will see that most of the service our project you will be part of in future, it follows agile because your requirements keep evolving. And that is what we have seen, that I have workflows, I have automation, and I want to bring some innovation. So if I want to bring these changes, so I'll have to be continuously my the methodology I'm using, it should adopt these changes that I'm making, that I'm discovering, that I'm uncovering while looking at the process in detail. So I have a method that incorporate these changes. I'll take a pause for 2 minutes. Any question from anyone?
Hi, Jay. This is Archana. I have a question.
Hi, Archana. Yes, please.
Hi. So, along with CSA, we can also take CSM. I didn't know that. So, we would be able to take these two certifications after the course.
You can see this Scrum Master is not something that you will need my help. We can
Mm.
provide you, and Sudesh can provide you some study material, so you can study on your own and you will be able to pass it. I mean, there is nothing technical here. It is all
Mm.
process related. I will give you a quick snapshot of what you will be using in your project. As in,
Mhm.
I'll tell you the actual groundwork that you will be doing. I'll show you one example. I'll take 2, 3 classes, and in service now, how you're going to deliver. I'll help you with the actual hands-on. Now you
Mhm.
can read about the theory part. You can cover on your own. As in, it's
Okay.
just nothing technical, more about process related.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now
And this
agile. Okay,
Jay,
yes, yes, please. Sorry.
sprint. The meaning of the sprint is it's an interval or that's what you said, right?
Okay.
Sprint exact.
Sprint. Okay. Quickly, in shorter terms, I mean shorter words, it's a short development cycle. I will be covering sprint. Just wait for 10 minutes. It is coming up in my slides.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So if I tell you what Agile says, Agile focuses on individuals and interaction, that you want to have in continuous touch with your customer, you with your development team, and then you are understanding how it is evolving. You are you prefer working software rather than focusing more on documentation. We focus more on customer collaboration, that the various stakeholders, be it SME, be it process owner, be it the client, so involving with them on the maybe daily basis as well, right? And taking their feedback, taking their inputs when you're working on these development, and whatever changes they are bringing on, you might be acting on it quickly. So this is what quick principles of, or the agile has these core values. The focus is more on people and outcomes rather than documentation overload. If I can tell you quick principles, you are delivering early and continuously, you're welcoming change, working closely with stakeholders, delivering working product frequently, you're making things simple rather than making it complicated. And whatever we are completing, we are reflecting and improving. So there is a meeting in Agile that is known as retrospective. I'll talk about what are the different meetings that you will see in Agile. It is coming up in my next slide. Now, um, so we overall, on a very high level, what we understood that I have an SDLC. SDLC has two branch. One of the branch is called waterfall, and another one is known as agile. We have seen the difference between waterfall and agile. How do we deliver waterfall? We have seen just a quick uh, sequence. And now about agile. Agile is delivered by various methodology. So one of them is Scrum, which is followed by most of the project. Then we have XP. XP is known as extreme programming. And then I have Safe as well. Safe Agile. Now you will see most of our projects are based on Scrum. If you understand Safe, you will be able to cover. But we can skip Safe for now and extreme programming because most of the ServiceNow project will be based on Scrum. Extreme programming is used by these heavy, wherein the coding is very heavy. Then you want to use extreme programming like all the Microsoft, AWS, Google. Whenever they code something, it is loaded with coding. So then you want to use extreme programming. There is safe process, safe agile methodology, and Scrum. So today we are going to learn about Scrum. We will not do safe and XP because that is not used uh, in service now. So I will use Scrum. Right. If I come to Scrum, Scrum is the most widely used agile framework. Right. So Agile has these frameworks. Scrum, XP, Safe. We're talking about Scrum. It includes, what does Scrum includes? What roles we are having in Scrum? Ceremonies are your, what are the typical meetings you will be having in Scrum? And then artifacts. What is it that you're going to prepare? Where you're going to work? And then I have last thing known as sprint. That how does actually one sprint works, right? So I will quickly start with first part that includes Scrum, that is known as rules. So I'll have these rules in a Scrum. So whenever I'm working with a client, first rule that I will look forward to is who is the PO. PO is your product owner that can guide you that where your product will be going, in which direction your product um will take forward in the upcoming months and what all features are needed. So product owner will help you who owns the product backlog. I'll mention about backlog in a while. What is a backlog? Now you keep taking notes of these different terms that I'm talking about. This is what you will be hearing uh, in your interviews, and also when tomorrow you are joining a project, these terms you will be getting encounter. Then how do we prioritize user stories? Second word is user story. What is a user story? That also we'll talk about. Then you product owner understand what is the business need and where does this product will evolve in which direction. So product owner will give you a complete guidance on the product. Then I have second person or second role in Scrum, that is known as Scrum Master. And this is where I was telling you about this other certification, right? So Scrum Master is someone who owns this complete sprint, who owns these all the Scrum uh, uh, methods, that he will facilitate all the ceremonies. Ceremonies are your meetings. In case you're stuck somewhere, he will try to unblock those issues, and he will protect or she will protect the team. As in, uh, I have a sprint going on for like 3 weeks. So the Scrum Master will organize meetings and will understand what is it that we are going to deliver in this sprint, and what is the portion that we have completed, is anything left, any challenges. They might have a review of this sprint. I'll talk about what are the different what is the responsibilities of a scrum. Then I have one role who will help me define the product. I have another role that will help me stick to the Scrum framework on I mean Scrum methodology, that how the Scrum will be delivered. And third role is your not I'll not call it IT, I'll call it implementation team. Who is actually going to work? Here we have developers, you might have testers, right, who will be configuring whatever work has been given to you or to the project. And the focus would be that after each sprint, there would be your product will be shaping up. Maybe right now, in first sprint, you might have this product, and in second sprint, you will add this functionality. In third sprint, you will add another. This is called product increment. My product is getting into a complete shape. Then I'll have this one, and then another, and so on. So all the colors I'm adding, basically I am delivering something in each sprint. That's how it is shaping up, right? This is known as product increment. Now, the important and which we are going to play the role, that is BA. BA will support product owner in taking the requirements, helping in clearing the backlog. I'll talk about backlog in a while. Understanding the acceptance criteria, design, FRD, help team understand what and why behind a requirement, right? So this is the role of BA in a project, in a Scrum project. Then I have BA. This is business analyst. Some even call it BPC. You would have heard functional consultant and BSA as well. There is BSA is business system analyst. All of them are same.
What is BBC?
Now, BPC is business process consultant. And you
Kudrat,
will
so
also get,
is that role completely different from BA role, the business process consultant?
no, I'll tell you. So
Okay.
in ServiceNow ecosystem, you will hear this term more often. That instead of BA, they call them either BPC or BPA. BPA is analyst, someone who is in the starting days of his career, maybe starting 2 or 3 years. Then you call them business process analyst, and someone who has good experience, maybe above 5, then you call them BPC. This is what we call it ServiceNow. If you find any career page of ServiceNow, you will see this role. They also called, but the other companies, they call it business analyst, some even call functional consultant, and then some also call business system analyst. There's a slightly difference. Functional consultant with more focus on functional part. Business system analyst will focus little more on technical part. Business analyst will go with the process part, right? And this process consultant is coming from the service now. More or less, you will see all of them are going with 80% of these role would have same roles and responsibilities. Only 10% would be little different. That, as I mentioned, BSA, little technical, functional, technical part is completely removed. Business analyst and BPC, you might have slightly other responsibilities as well. What are those responsibilities? I'll just talk about in a while. Now, as I'm mentioning about these different roles, product owner, scrum master, and these implementation team and PA, what happens? Why is it required for you to have scrum master certificate? Because as I mentioned in the previous class, that I have a project to deliver, right? Project has various type. One of the type depends on the funds. As in, if project is a small size project, wherein I want to deliver something within a month or maybe 2 months, that is what I'm looking forward to. So for sure, I need a BA here. I'll have my implementation team. So having Scrum Master might well become a choice, that whether I need it or not need it. And you will see most of the time you will not need a Scrum Master. Or maybe in the starting, the Scrum Master is not added into the project. Only in few of the project you will see Scrum Master role being there, right? Or maybe whenever I have project manager might play little bit of Scrum Master. Even he will not be there in most of the calls. So ultimately, BA will drive these responsibilities, this work. So it is important for you to understand how Scrum works. So tomorrow, I mean, Scrum Master work. So tomorrow, if you are into a project wherein you might not have all the resources, then you might play that role, right? But if it is a large project wherein client has spent a good money on the project, that I want each role, I want one for product owner, and then I'll have BA as well, then I'll have Scrum Master as well, I'll have project manager, I'll have implementation team, I will have integration uh, developer, maybe I'll have separate testers. But understand, if you have various roles, it means you're going to have a very critical project. At the same time, it will be a complex project, right? When it is a straightforward, easy project, then you might not have all the roles. So you will have to come into the picture and play that role. On top of it, I have technical architect as well. So these are the different roles that you will see in Scrum. Product owner is mostly from the client side. Scrum, development, and BA will come from your end as an implementation team. Now, we understood the different roles in Scrum. Let's understand the different meetings that we will be organizing as per these sprints. So, I have a sprint. Suppose this is what I'm having, maybe a 4 week sprint. So, before I start that sprint, first call I am going to have is regarding sprint planning. As in, I want to plan what is it that I am going to deliver here. And the things that I will be delivering here are known as user stories. Before I move here, let me take you to what are user stories, and then we'll talk about maybe little bit about backlog, and then we'll talk about these meetings. So let's take a step back. I am in the requirement gathering phase, right? I have gathered requirements. Then I move to the next phase, which is my design. Here I have created my documents and designs. Documents I have FRD, and design I have diagrams. Right now, this functional requirement document is something that tells you how a system will work. Suppose if I tell that maybe the functional requirement could be about a login page, that I need a system where I should see a login page with three fields. One of them is user ID and another one is password. So these are some details about it, right? Now I will break this requirement into FRD is broken. I mean, in the FRDs, I have FRs. FRs are your functional requirements. I will break these functional requirements into user stories. What is a user story? That will be required in development for developers, that they will pick this user story and they will work on it. A user story, let me skip one slide. Let me explain you user story. A user story, suppose this is my entire requirements. And this is my first functional requirement. And this functional requirement is divided into two parts. This is my first part, and then this is my second part. Maybe in functional requirement, I am saying how a system will work. But for developer, he needs something to create. So I'll break down that requirement in a format. So user story follows a format. That format says, as a persona, I want to take this action so that what is the benefit? Now, how do I write a user story for this login page? I will say that as an end user, I want to enter my credentials on login page so that I can log in successfully and can access my Gmail page for sending or receiving emails. So now you see that I am clearly mentioning in this user story for the functional requirement, then what is it that is expected out of this behavior or this requirement. Now for a developer, now he will understand that when I'm creating a product, I need first a persona. There should be a persona called end user. This is what he will be doing. This is the action that they are taking. And what is the benefit? If they take this action, this is the benefit that they are getting. Now, this benefit, we will tie it back to our initial discussion, which says that I want to deliver a customer value. Right. At the same time, whenever I am delivering a user story, so this user story will have an acceptance criteria, which we call as AC, acceptance criteria, which if I can give you a format, like as I mentioned, how to add a user story, the format for AC would be given, when, and then. There are some conditions of the user story. What are the conditions? That given is user should have an account on Gmail. right? With valid ID and password. Similarly, when he will be logging into it, that once he reaches the portal, right, then he will log into it. Then what happens when he clicked on submit? Then he will see a successful message saying you are logged in. So this amount of detailing I need on each requirement that I will be providing to my developer. Then he will create my requirement or he will develop it. Right. So now you see this is what I have to deliver. I will break down into smaller sprint. Each sprint will have some user story, and this is the level of detailing I need on user story so that developer can deliver it. So in short, how this user story will come, if I take a one back step, it is coming from FRs. How FRs are derived? FRs are derived from BRs, business requirement. And how you're getting all of these BRs and FRs? By using requirement gathering methods. This requirement gathering, how you do it, what are the different stakeholders and all, that is what we will be learning in next week's sessions. But for today, let's focus on user story. So user story is clear. Now next part is backlog. What is backlog? Backlog is that you have created user story 1, then user story 2, and it will go on for the next set, right? Now suppose in the so you will have a backlog is something, it's like a container that you keep adding stories there, all of them, and from backlog you will pick something that you want to deliver in first sprint. Maybe out of this 11 you want to deliver only 5 user stories, so you will add those 5. So right now it's in backlog. At the same time you will be working on other requirements. From requirements you will again create other user stories, you will add it in the backlog. So you will keep on adding the backlogs. Maybe this is what you have added in uh, maybe starting, you started with in first 2 weeks when you're doing the requirement gathering, and you have done collected PRs and FRs. So you have created 11 user story. Then as and when you progress to the next phase, then you will add little more user stories. So this I will call it another phase, maybe in week 3. So you will keep adding to a backlog. When you are moving to the sprint phase, so out of these stories, you will pick something. So now comes the role of, as I was saying, product owner. So BA and product owner will prioritize user stories. Okay, out of this 15, I want to pick this, and let's take it to the sprint that I'm going to deliver for next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and we will deliver it. And that's how you will have a discussion with the client.
Do
So
we
now
also,
since
I'm sorry,
Mhm. Yes.
do we also get approval for user stories? Because I mean, this is the one which we will, I mean, deliver to development team, right? Based on this, they will work. I mean, create the project. So, do we get approval for user stories, or it's just the us? We will,
Okay.
because
Two
who will
things.
make sure that
Right.
the user story is correct? Uh,
Two things. First, about what are the different stakeholders that you will find in a project, and what all requirement gathering you will do, and then who will provide you sign off, right? I have a session on stakeholders, specifically on stakeholders, right? That we will be covering in next phase. I mean, not next phase, in next class, fourth class. But to answer your question about approval, yes, we do take approvals. Suppose I have created here. Once I'm having documents in the design phase, I'm creating this FRDs, process diagram. As I mentioned that I will be taking a sign off from the client. This becomes my source of truth. So tomorrow this is my base, that whatever I am building on these. This is whatever we have agreed, we have signed off from the client. At the same time, when I'm deriving user stories from this functional requirement, so these user stories, whatever I have mentioned that we will be creating it in a tool. As explained in the starting, that there is a tool called Jira, there is another tool called ADO, and in ServiceNow we have ServiceNow Agile. So how do we create it in Agile? I will show you. So I will track all of these user stories in this Agile tool, and in Agile tool you will first showcase it to the client, then you can have a review of the user stories and let me know if something is missing. Once they provide a go ahead that I am okay with all the user stories, it is covering all of my FRs, functional requirement. Then once you receive a green signal, developer will start working on them. At the same time, whenever you are having, if I can come to my first, now I'll come to here, Scrum ceremonies. So the very first meeting that I'm having is sprint planning. In sprint planning, I'll understand, the team will decide what all stories we are picking for the upcoming sprint. So client will be aware of that in sprint one, what all stories are coming. If something is missing, you can have a discussion with the client and add the missing part to the story. Is it clear?
Uh, yeah. Couldn't clear, but even before the sprint planning, we start
Mm-hmm.
putting the backlog together, and when we
Mm-hmm.
put the backlog together, we do the backlog grooming even before we start the first sprint. So when we do the backlog grooming, the product owner,
Mm-hmm.
which is basically a representative from the client side, is always there.
Mm-hmm.
So like every story which we are putting in the backlog, we are putting it after the discussion with the product owner himself.
Correct. Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, that itself is a kind of approval or the direction for the product from the product owner. So, isn't that true?
Right, that is also there. I am not denying the fact. But whenever you are starting, you can always, you can count it as a best practice. I understand there are some things which are inbuilt. That yes, since I've created these user stories, I have a product owner. See, product owner is definitely from the client side. But at the same time, understand the way on the implementation, I might not have all the rules. So maybe from the client side, they might give someone as product owner, but actually he might not be a product owner. I have worked with clients wherein they have been given the role of product owner, but they're actually someone who just want to who will be giving you the requirements. So your part is right that when you are discussing these user stories with the product owner, they're aware that what I'm preparing, that also works in approvals. But before this user story comes into the picture, you already have approval on the functional requirements. But as a best practice, you can always inform them the user stories are live. If they want to have a review, you can take a review. And it's not that you need a formal approval. As you're having these meeting with the client, you can mention the user stories are prepared. If you want to have a look, you can take a look on it, and can we start formally from Monday or from this date? Let me know if you have any concerns, any query, any feedback. We can work towards it. If not, then we'll start this on the specific date. So it's always a good practice to inform and then start working.
And one more thing,
Does
will you
Mhm.
also tell that, I mean, in the sequence or order, which deliverables should come first and after the, because
Okay.
you have told these are all the deliverables which BA have to do, BR, DFR,
Right.
user stories,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
process flow. I
Right,
just
right.
want the order, which is first, second, I mean, should be completed. Mm.
Perfect. So The sequence will always be this. Uh, this one. Understand? I cannot create something without gathering information. I cannot do development until unless I have some document or user stories being created. The sequence will always be this, just that the first two part requirement gathering and designing would be completed first, then this development piece will be delivered in this agile format. And since we are working in agile, you have smaller sprint, maybe you might work on a few requirements in the starting, then it goes in a parallel way. It will come. You will see the sprint cycle. Just wait for my another two slide. You will understand how it works.
Okay.
And I am covering your all of your queries. See, it is like step by step. This is a lot to. There is a lot to discuss, lot to understand about what are the different approvals, what are the different stakeholders, right? And what are the different techniques. And also, if I can tell you, one of the deliverable, not as a deliverable, when you are having the first call, kickoff call, there is the client will, or maybe your project manager will create a project plan. And project plan usually will tell you the different phases, like phase one. I'll tell you how it looks like phase two, phase three, and maybe phase four, right? Phase four might be for requirement gathering. Here they will mention what all activities you need to perform. Here they can see it depends on how descriptive your project plan looks like, how clear um, it has been laid out. Then you will have owner who is going to own it. Then here you will have the timelines. Maybe for first activity you might take, see it works like this: week one, week two, week three, week four, and so on. Then they will say that maybe in week one, I'll do my first activity of requirement gathering. Then I will move to maybe the other activity. I'll take one more week. But as in when I come to design phase, it will take some time. So I'll take 2 weeks. So that's how a project plan is created. And you will have clear activities mentioned, what activities will be uh, you have to perform, who is the owner. Even on owner, they can decide who is the primary owner and then secondary owner. Here, it's not only the implementation team, there might be a client as well. For example, I can add one activity as feedback and review. So this feedback and review will tie it back to the client. That he needs to review the functional requirement document, business requirement document. That's how you decide the sequence of activities that you have to complete in a project. Is it answering your question? Okay.
I have another question because we were
Yes, yes,
discussing
please.
waterfall as well as we were discussing the Scrum framework. So in waterfall, there is a completely different phase called the design phase, in which the architect works on the design. So when we are doing
Mhm,
Scrum, so we get into, say, for example, sprint one, it may be
mhm.
2 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. But so like in the initial phase, is it the architect who is an architectural sprint? Like initial sprints are only for architecture, or they just start developing?
Okay. See, I'll tell you how it works is initially, see, first, see, again, it depends on the client. Some of the client says that in sprint, I let me come here, that I have a sprint, and in sprint, I want to measure only development activity. Right? Some client will go with this mindset. Another might ask you that, hey, I'm okay that even if you want to include um, this BA and architect's efforts as well, which is basically your, this is technical, right? And this is non-technical. Because I am not doing any development work. Some client will say that I want to track only development efforts in sprint. Some might say that you can include BA and architects as in non-technical efforts as well. So if they want to include this, so in that case, I'll create a user story not with respect to the functionality and all. I will simply say that as a business analyst, I want to create a FRD that outlines functional requirements with respect to a project. Similarly, technical architect can also create it, and then so on. I might not add all of the functional requirements, each of them one by one, but I'll sum it up in a document and I'll mention that I might take these many days to complete this PRT and FRT. Usually, development work is uh, completed in sprint, and the initial, the first, the starting part, like requirement gathering and designing. Maybe requirement gathering, you might not be able to add it here, but designing part, totally up to the client. If they say that they want to track in sprint, they can. If not, then you will just create documents. You will just keep adding your user stories to here. Is it clear?
Yeah, yeah, it's clear. Yeah, so probably, because for any kind of development, there has to be architecture in
Mhm.
place. So probably a hybrid way could be there. They would work on the architectural and then leave the next sprints for development. I'm just assuming hypothetically,
I'll
but
tell.
that.
I'll answer. No, I'll answer that question as well. So whenever you're starting the project, you will not have all the resources. Like as I mentioned, this is my phase one, right? And this is my phase two. In the starting, you might see how how your resources are being onboarded. First, you will have a project manager. Project manager will bring in technical architect and BA, right? In the starting phase, you do not require a developer. Your developer might come in phase two and phase three, maybe in phase two, because in the initial, even if you bring a developer in the starting call, requirement gathering, what developer will be doing here?
He has nothing to do. Yeah, true.
Nothing in design as well, right?
Yeah,
So what
because
you will do,
nothing in
you will
design, no
save,
user stories. Yeah.
right? You will save their effort in the initial phase. Maybe if you're doing it for like 2 weeks, so you will save their effort. Maybe you can reuse, I mean, not reuse, you can use the efforts in the starting phase. They can work in a parallel project. So that's how it works. So all of this alignment will be done by project manager. So they will bring developer at the right time. Then now you start working, or maybe when you are in the last part of designing, you are incorporating the feedback, communicating. Then you can bring them. Or what additional you can do? Maybe you are working on a new product or a new. Maybe you're working on CSM. So initial phase, you can give developers that you train yourself. You go through the training. Meanwhile, we are gathering the requirements. And at the back end, BA and technical architect can give them a download that we are discussing these requirements. Please study these as well. So that's how you can add training efforts as well. Totally up to project manager how you want to deal with these situations. And also the budget you are getting from the client. Is it clear?
So, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. I mean, that was a very detailed explanation. I really appreciate that. So, in your experience, generally you have seen like 2 week sprint, 3 week sprint, or 4 week sprint, especially for ServiceNow kind of projects.
This is the duration, 2 to 4. Now,
Yeah,
up
yeah.
to this we will decide. This we will decide on the basis of discussion. I have seen also 2 weeks. I have also seen 3 weeks and 4 weeks as well. That is up to me how I want to break my complete product. That maybe in the 2 weeks I want to cover only the important priorities, because this user stories also, suppose you're working on an integration, and since integration is two part, system one and another system is a service now, and there is some dependency. Okay, so you will say this dependency might take 3 weeks. So first 2 weeks you will put something which is on priority, which you can do right now. You will wait for it. So you will do 2 weeks, then maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or maybe sometimes it is only 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks. Totally up to the client how they want to have it. Or maybe you can have a joint discussion.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. But I was just saying which one you found popular, especially in ServiceNow environment. That was the question.
No, no, in service, that is what I'm saying. In service
Oh,
now also, it's not just it is fixed. I have worked in 2 weeks as well, 3 weeks as
okay.
well, and 4 weeks as well.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now if I move to the next part, first is my sprint planning. Sprint planning is something that I want to do in the starting. So I'll come back directly here. Suppose this is my backlog, different features in a product. Then I have divided my sprint. Then in sprint one, I want to deliver these two. Then in sprint, there's another sprint. So this is a sprint backlog. I have multiple sprint. So I've decided I want to go with this sprint. So first thing I'll do is planning. In this sprint, what all user stories I want to deliver, right? So after the sprint planning, I will move to implementation. Implementation says that after sprint planning, when I have decided what all user stories I am having, and who is going to, who will work on these user stories, right? Once this is decided, then once my sprint starts from here, then I have, this is my first meeting, and then I have recurring meetings which is known as daily scrum, right? Daily scrum is a, or it is also known as stand up call. This meeting is usually for 15 minutes. It's a quick meeting wherein you want to discuss what happened yesterday. Like if I can come here, it's a 15-minute sync call. You want to understand what happened yesterday. Is there any blocker, and what is it that we are going to do today? If there is any blocker, you will set up a meeting with the respective stakeholder and we'll try to unblock that issue, right? After this second meeting, I have, see, this will happen for like next, this complete sprint, whether it is happening for 2 weeks, 1 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So it will happen, this daily scrum will be happening on those daily basis, 15-minute stand up. Now at the end of the sprint, I have a meeting called sprint review, wherein I will be showcasing a demo working product, that yes, this is what is working, and that will tie back to my initial principle which I was saying. I will be sharing a quick delivery. Suppose your sprint is for 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So at the end of the week, you are sharing a quick delivery. And the next last meeting is sprint retrospective. Sprint retrospective is among the implementation itself, wherein you want to understand what is it that worked well in this sprint. What were the lessons, takeaways? and what are the things that didn't work well and how we can improve it, right? That's how I want to reflect back to my working and I can improve it. So these are usually four types. There is one more that is called backlog grooming. In backlog grooming, what I want to do is I'll have user stories being placed. I'll just ensure that for my next sprint, whichever user stories I can push to the sprint. At the same time, whenever you are delivering in a sprint, maybe you are going with the first sprint, there might be a chances that maybe some new requirement might come from the client. So you might have to deprioritize something. You might have to drop something, or that particular user stories might spill over to the next sprint, or there is a new story that you have discovered. So that's how you will accommodate those changes. What are those different scenarios? We'll share all those scenarios and you can prepare yourself for those questions or those situations. So that is backlog grooming. And there is one part which I have not completed, which we will be soon completing in, I have a dedicated session. After this PA, I'll start with uh, admin, and then we'll move to ITSM. After ITSM, we will do one, 2 or 3 sessions on SPM. There we'll see all of these things that I will be creating user stories. They will be added to a Scrum. Then it will be assigned to users. They will work on it, and then we'll see the status and how do we close a sprint. So we'll see all of these things. So whenever I am creating a user story, so there is an important part that is known as estimation. Estimation means this user story, I will give a number that maybe that's how I decide whether the user stories I am having is easy to develop, or they are in medium complexity, or they are high complex in nature. I mean, they are highly complex. So based on this bifurcation, I'll give them the rating. So I can give them rating between 1 to 10, and sometimes some companies will follow uh, Fibonacci series that is usually 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. So you will give assign a number. This is known as estimation. Less number means it is easy to implement. Greater the number, it is difficult to sprint, difficult to implement. And if I can tell you, these story points, this is known as story points. These story points tie back. Sometimes, they say that if it is one story point is equal to zero point 0.5 days of effort, or maybe one story point is 0.25 days of effort. It means if you are considering that in a way, in a day, there are 8 hours, 8 working hours for a developer. So one story point might be equal to 2 hours. So that's how I will decide that for the next 2 weeks. That's how we'll decide these 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That in 2 weeks, if I have to deliver these story points, or maybe I can decide, maybe suppose if I'm doing it for like 2 weeks, I am assuming that usually 5 days in a week, that I'll go with this assumption, and we'll exclude holidays or maybe some other uh, uh, things. So I'm assuming 5 days. In 5 days, so total I'll have 10 days. So in one day, I have 8 hours. If I'm saying 2 hours for one story point, so in a single day, I can have four story point. And in 10 days, I'll have 40 story points. So one developer will be working on 40 story points. Now I'll decide whether it's a complex or less complex or medium complex. I want to make sure that a developer is having stories worth 40 story points. Or maybe I can take and buffer, instead of 40, I'll make it 30, so that he will have a time to work on it. It is usually not the standard way, that it is totally depend on the different customer. Some might even call it that I'll keep it only 0.5 days. Maybe one day it is, for one day the effort would be equal to uh, two story points. So in 10 days it will be 20 story points. So I'll have to first understand from the client this, can you tell me what all efforts do you take? You can mention that let's go with two story point for a day, right? That's how you will calculate, and those story points are added to sprint. And if I can show you how does it work, this is how it works. Planning, implementation, then you will have a review, right? And then retrospective. After it is done, then a product increment. Product increment is nothing but this part, what I was saying. I'll start with the first one, this is completed, then start with second one, and slowly it is taking a shape. That is my okay. Now what all artifacts I am having in Scrum? First, product backlog, master list of all the requirements. Then sprint backlog, stories selected for sprint. Increment, working product delivered at sprint end. And user stories and acceptance criteria. This will all be there in your agile tool. How to do it, how to create it, we will see when we will reach here. After admin, we'll do ITSM, and then we will do agile development here. Now, I will take a pause. I'll want to take your questions, and then we will wrap today's sessions. Let me know if you have any queries, any doubt, anything that you want me to repeat, and we can do it.
Yeah, you briefly touched upon the scaled agile, and I was just curious to know if for the ServiceNow projects they fit more into Scrum or they fit more into the scaled agile.
Scrum.
Okay.
We'll do it. We have, as I mentioned, I will be bringing a project here, and we will create user stories out of it, and I'll show you how to put it on ServiceNow's Agile. So you will be able to create these user stories, how to add it, how to run a sprint, how to close a sprint, how to track a sprint, right? So we'll do it in this Agile. But before that, we do any requirement and user stories, it is important for you to understand what exactly is the requirement in ServiceNow. So that will make sense here. For to understand the ITSM requirements, you need to understand how to configure those requirements. To understand configure, first you understand what is it that you are doing. So that is it, what we are learning in BA. We'll move to admin, ITSM, and Agile.
Hi Jay,
Well,
what is the full form of IGSM and SPM?
ITSM is Information Technology Service Management, right? So you usually, whenever you have any challenge, or maybe suppose you are in your office and your laptop is not working, so you would have raised ticket, right? Or if you are not from IT background, then maybe suppose you have purchased a product from Amazon, and for some reason it is not working, so you will raise a request. That request is known as ticket. At the
Okay.
back end, how that ticket is handled, this is what we
Mhm.
will learn in ITSM.
Okay.
SPM is known as Strategic Portfolio Management. It usually have, like, how do we, since we are talking about this project, so how do we create a project in ServiceNow? After that, how do we add resources? So make it more trackable. This is from user, from for project manager and all. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
portfolio management, right? What are my different projects? What are the resources? What is the budget? What are the risks? So one way is that you can track it on your local file in an Excel.
Mm-hmm.
That is
And
only
what?
visible to me.
Okay. And
And then
what
in
we do
S3, it is
exactly
visible
in
to everyone.
admin?
Mhm. Okay. Admin is uh, to understand how this ticket works and all. So how do we configure those things? For example, if a customer comes to you and says that I want to make, or maybe suppose if you look at this page only of Excel,
Mm-hmm.
so there are additional options here, right? Maybe there is, if I want to add anything, if I want to add an extension and all, so that I may not be able to do it. If you ask admin, he can do it. So what all things you can configure in ITSM? Maybe you want to change a form, you want to add a field, you want to remove a field. How to do
Mm-hmm.
it? They will learn it. Now, the objective is that you will not be performing admin related work, but you should know what is the capability of ServiceNow. So, tomorrow, when client is coming to you and says that, hey, I want to make this change, since you have understood it here, you can mention, yes, we can do it. You
Mm-hmm.
will, your user stories will be directly reflecting your some admin related things, not
Okay.
directly, but indirectly.
Okay.
And you will be writing your first certificate on this admin only. The CSA part is known as Certified System Administrator.
Okay.
And this is the basic ask for all the resources of ServiceNow.
Okay.
Can you please explain this point?
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're
So I
welcome.
just
Yes,
you
yes.
just heard that you said that even for the admin roles,
Mhm,
the BA work is needed, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to understand
mhm.
this. If you can please a little bit elaborate more on that. So I understand
Okay.
for development work that if it's a development work, you need a
Mhm,
BA. But I
mhm,
want to understand
mhm.
how the BA fits in the admin kind of requirements also.
Sure, sure. So admin related work is, it's not that you will be performing this activity, but you should know how to configure it. For example, um, I have this form as we were talking about the tickets. So one of the ticket, if you would have heard of it, is known as incident. Okay. In incident, suppose the client says, as soon as an incident is created, I need a notification. Whoever is creating a ticket, he should receive a notification, right? Now, what is notification? How can I trigger a notification? What are the different components of a notification? What all I can add in a notification? That is what we will be learning in admin. Whatever we will be learning is all from functional point of view. There will be no coding involved, and at the same time, you will learn just with configuration. When I say configuration, I'll use two words, which are plug and play, or you can call them as drag and drop. You will use these features and your work will be done. So if the client says, is it possible that I can have a notification that is created and it is sent to the caller? At the same time, I also want to send the manager of caller. So this is what we will be learning in admin. Or I can call it admin is your backbone of your service now, or admin is your skeleton of your service now. First, you need to understand skeleton, then we will move towards the different products. So if you understand what notification is, how do we send notification, what all components are there, then there will be other things that maybe I want to make some fields as mandatory. So I need to know how can I decide the behavior of first fields and then also the form. That is what we will learn in admin. And the same things will be assessed in your CSA exam. Is it clear? Now, all of these things, we will learn these things in admin, which is this admin part is applicable tomorrow if you're working in ITSM or in SPM or in any other product under ServiceNow. This is applicable everywhere.
So just a follow-up question. So there may be some user stories written by the BA for admin task also?
No, you will write functional stories are the stories are never technical. You cannot write that, hey, code for this. Have I written anything technical here?
I mean, if
Nothing is technical here.
I'm sorry. Mm.
Yes, yes, please, please. Go ahead.
The only thing is, you said like if the product owner asked that whether this changes can be made in the service now, and if we are technically strong, then only we can answer for that, right? Or can we say that we can check and get back to you? We cannot say that, right?
Exactly.
We should
That's
be
right.
technically
That's
straight.
right. No,
Mm.
that's right. See, I'm not saying that you are alone in this project. You have a technical architect, right? But understand, do you always want to have a dependency of technical architect? At the same time, if, see, there are two things to look at it. First thing is, if this course or the expectation from a ServiceNow BA is that you need to understand BA. Also, you need to understand ServiceNow. If you do not understand some questions of ServiceNow, then what's the point? I can hire a regular BA. At the same time, if you're always dependent on technical architect, why do I need specialized ServiceNow BA? Right. Second thing is, you will have so much of work. This technical architect will also have work, right? So it's not that every time you will be going into the client's meeting and you will get back to saying that, okay, let me take some time and I'll confirm and then I'll check. And at the same time, I am not saying that even with having technical architect and everyone, even you should be in a position to propose something. You should be in a position to understand the requirement. And it's when I'm saying this is not a technical part, it's an admin related. Admin is not technical at all. Understanding these technical, do not confuse technical thing with coding. Coding is different, technical is how if I ask something how this incident will work, you should know that okay, incident will have first state, second state, third, fourth state. All of this part is technical related to ITSM, but how to use, what to use, then that is it that we would be answering when a client is coming to you. And it's not that you will have to answer it directly to the client saying that okay, we'll do it. You always want to take a step back and reflect at the requirement. Then you will have a meeting, you will consult with the technical architect. This is the requirement, this is the fitting part from the service now, and we can go ahead with it.
So Jay,
Hope
you're saying,
it is making sense. Yes, yes, please.
so Jay, you're saying that it will be more like a functional work for a BA, right?
We will always be having this, as I mentioned, these different roles. If you look at, I was mentioning here, BPC, business analyst, functional
Mm-hmm.
consultancy, name itself says functional. Business
Yes.
system analyst, business process consultant, business analyst. It will be functional role. If it comes at max, it can have a techno functional. Techno functional is not the coding part, but you understand. See, forget everything. If you ask me, I have not written a single piece of code in my entire career. I have also not configured any of these things. The only thing is, I know how to use it and how can I work on it. That is it. I have admin, ServiceNow admin. I have ServiceNow developer to work on these things. If it is configuration related, where is no coding is involved, admin is here. If it is coding related, then developer will be taking care of those things. My job would be to understand if there is a requirement coming from the client. Can it be delivered in ServiceNow? Yes, it can be delivered. And by end of this training, you will be able to clearly tell it that if there is a requirement coming in, yes, we can deliver it. We will show you with the examples of hands-on and without hands-on. So you will be able to do it.
Sujay, I have one more question. I'm so sorry
Mhm.
for prolonging,
No worries.
but
No
yeah.
worries.
So I have this question. I'm just curious to know that in a ServiceNow platform, who will be our stakeholders?
Okay. That's a good question. And to answer your question, let me get back to my roadmap. See, I have answered
I'm
to all of
sorry.
you.
What was the question actually? I couldn't hear that clearly.
So
The
my
question was,
question,
what are my different stakeholders? Yes, yes, please. You ask your question.
yes. So I was asking that I just wanted to know, as we will be working in a ServiceNow platform, so who will be our stakeholders?
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Okay. So the answer to your question um, is coming up in my fourth class, stakeholder and requirement management. So I'll talk about different stakeholders. How do we analyze those stakeholders? There is a matrix that we will use to analyze the stakeholders. Will understand their responsibilities, right? So see, understand. I have answered to all of your questions, but rather I would want you to go through each of these classes. Then only you will understand. See, stakeholders is coming. How when I understood the stakeholders, different stakeholders, how to get the requirements from them. That is also being captured here. At the same time, as I was mentioning that you will be creating designs and all, how you will create it, I have covered here, requirement gathering and documentation. What all documentation you will be doing, BRD, FRD, there will be other documentation as well. So I will be showing you how to do it. And also I will be sharing those template. We will create 3 to 4 diagrams.
குட்டி வருது இப்ப சாப்பிட முடியாதனால.
So we will be looking at creating diagrams as well. I will use one tool that you will also be using, and you will be able to create those diagrams. Then at the end, we'll also look at how to create user story, use cases, right? So all of them are being or they are included in the next 3 sessions. So do not worry, everything is coming up, everything is being planned. So here you will learn the admin fundamentals as I mentioned. Then ITSM, SPM. Any other question, Asta?
No, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other question from anyone? Or I missed something, or you have any doubt? Please ask your questions. Do not keep any doubt with yourself. I am here to answer your queries.
We're also going to have a brief on like HRSD module or like anything, any other module except for the ITOM module, like some brief, like the GRC module.
It is practically impossible to cover all the models, to be very honest.
Right.
But we are see one of the core deep dive we are doing in ITSM. I will be covering agile development under SPM, and yes, HRSD we are covering here. But here
Okay.
I will deliver template that you can follow to learn other modules as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Jay, so I have
Yes,
a
please.
question as well. Could you explain the difference between a story point and a velocity? Are they similar or they're like quite different? You said
Okay.
one story point is like a 0.5 days to of efforts to complete a task, right? Is it are
Okay.
they
Right.
same
Story
or they
point
are
is
different?
no, no. Story points and velocity are different.
Okay.
Story point is whenever I'm creating these stories, I'll have to estimate it. Like I'm assuming that how much time it will take for me to complete this user story. Or
Uh-huh.
if I'm assigning this user story to some developer, I am assuming that it will be completed within this effort. This effort is tying back to some days. I mean, some hours of effort. That efforts we can understand from a client. And what is it? The effort that they usually agree to.
Hmm.
Usually, it is between 20 to 24 if it is for 2 weeks of sprint. This is for one resource. Okay.
Got it.
So this, how much can I deliver in a sprint? So story point is for single story, right? All the story points that I can deliver in a sprint, that is your velocity. That tells me that this is the capacity that I have to deliver a story in a sprint. So that is my velocity. Number of stories that I can deliver in a sprint, that tells me the velocity. And velocity will help you to decide maybe in the upcoming sprint how quickly I can deliver the remaining features and remaining functional
Okay.
part of my product.
It is it is just that you mentioned 0.5 days of efforts, right? So that part is a bit
Right.
confusing for me. So that's why I had to
No,
ask
no.
this
That
question.
is that is right. That is just for the hours. So
Hmm.
that depends. Some client will call it zero point 0.3, some will say zero
Okay.
point 0.5. So we can ask what is the standard that they follow, and based on that, we can assume how we want
Okay.
to take
So
it
it's
forward.
okay. So it's differential. Got it.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other question?
I have a question. If a
Jay,
stakeholder requests a change after the sprint starts, how should the
Mm-hmm.
BA handle that in the Scrum?
Oh, perfect. That seems like an interview question, and you will be asked this question in your interview. So this is where we call it prioritization. So whenever a change is coming to the sprint, and maybe in the starting, it can be in the mid as well, and client is saying that we have to include this change, then there are various answer to this question. One answer is I want to understand first. See, this is still you need to we need to cover, but I'll tell you how will I approach this. First is I need to understand whether it is in my scope or not. Suppose I am working in ITSM. I have a first sprint wherein I want to deliver something from ITSM. If the client comes and says, "Hey, I want GRC to be implemented," that's not in my scope, so I'll not take it. I'll mention that, "Hey, this is not part of ITSM. Maybe we can take it when we will do GRC." Second, I want to understand first, is it a miss when I was gathering the requirement, or it's a totally new requirement that the client is asking for, right? Third, I look at what is the amount of effort I will require to complete this. Sometimes I have a buffer in my sprint that I can accommodate something, right? If I am able to accommodate this change into my current sprint, I will absorb this requirement. If at all I feel that this cannot be completed in the current sprint, I'll mention to the client that hey, this might take some significant time. Maybe not in this sprint. After 2 weeks or 3 weeks, when we're moving to the next sprint, we can take it. Now, if the client is adamant and says that no, this is on priority, I'll have to deliver it in the current sprint only. So I'll tell them, then I will deprioritize some other requirement, right? Maybe if I have 7 user story, I will drop 1 user story and take this user story in the current sprint. That's how I will approach this scenario. Understood?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? But this is a
So
good question, and you can expect it coming to be coming in your interview.
Hi Jay.
Yes, yes, please.
Hi Jay. It's Keithan here. Jay, you spoke about MVP in a very short term, right? It was
Mhm.
minimum viable product, right?
Product. Mhm.
So yes, so I saw like you made the picture of that there was an MVP important. If you can roll up on your screen a bit, yeah. So you see, this was one of the sprint, the blue area that you have colored up. It's one of the sprints, right? So there will be. So is this MVP, this product will be the outcome of each sprint that we will be doing to make a whole product at the end of the project? Or is it like there will be one MVP for the whole project and different phases will be just a part of it?
Right. MVP is just a minimum viable product. I mean, what are
Yeah.
the minimum features that are required? I'll give you an example, you will get it. My product is Instagram. Suppose we are 10 years uh, back into our past and we do not know what is Instagram. So the client comes and says, hey, I want to create an Instagram. I want these features along so many features. Now, as a BI, I went them, okay, tell me what are the important features? What is it the MVP looking at? So they will say, okay, my first and important feature is that is related to image, that people should be able to upload image and someone should be able to share it and like it, right? So that's become my MVP. Now the entire Instagram today has lot more things. It has chatting features, it has video options, it has a story option, story sharing, story update, and lot more things. But if what I know about Instagram is this is my star feature, or this would be my MVP. So I would have started with this and then I would have built on top of it. So MVP would be same, one, only one MVP for one complete product. There will not be separate product for each of the sprint. So this is something that I can share with the client. Hey, this is MVP. This is how it is looking up. So tomorrow, if this client has to show their leadership, yes, we are working on something, they can share, yes, MVP they have received. So that safeguards are, it's also a strategy that safeguards our future funds or future budget of the project. If I am not, suppose I have a project going on for this long, 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Now I cannot wait till 6 months that I'll get the delivery. Maybe what I can tell them is, okay, within first 1.5 month, I'll share you something, maybe a MVP, that yes, we are building something good and it is on track. So that way I win the customer's confidence and I also win rest of the budget for our resources and our team members. So that is why this concept of MVP is being used.
Okay.
It's a
Okay, Jay.
win-win situation. Yes.
So is it correct to say that MVP is decided on the first sprint itself for the whole project?
Yes.
Okay.
In the
So
starting, only you will decide in the starting. I mean, this is what you will start with your, or maybe client will be coming to you and says that, hey, what is that I'm looking these features in my MVP. So you can decide what all features we can include. At least you can show them, yes, we can build something and we can show something because nowadays client do not wait for this longer.
mm-hmm.
And that's not with the client. If you assume it for any other things in your life, Maybe if I just talk about social media, the attention time has reduced to, it has, take an example of YouTube, then take an example of Instagram Reels and all this TikTok videos. From 15 minutes to it has reduced to 30 seconds.
Mm.
We do not wait this longer to get the result or to get the value. Same is with the customer as well. They will not wait for this 6 month. They will panic. At the time of fifth month, they see that nothing has been created or nothing is getting into the shape. So they need something in the starting to build that confidence.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? I see someone was asking something. I didn't recognize the name, but you can ask your question, please.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Jay. This is Abdul. Actually, I miss first two classes, so we are in third class today.
Mm-hmm.
So can I get
Yes, we are
link?
in third class. No worries. You will get recording. We have recorded sessions.
It's
You
okay.
can
It's
reach
okay.
out to Tia, or maybe Tia, can you please reach out to Abdul and help with the first two
Yeah,
classes?
this is our third session. This just I want to
Right,
know.
first two classes. Right, this is our third session. That's
Okay,
right.
sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
I have also
welcome.
missed the first two classes. This is Kudrat Ali. So if somebody can reach
No
out to
problem,
me
Kudrat.
with the video, thank you.
Yes, yes. Uh, Abdul and Kudrat. Tia, can we please make a note, or I'll connect with you. We can share information with Kudrat and Abdul. Okay. If we do not have any question, then I think we are good to close. But before I close, thank you so much for being with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you in next week's class. It will be an amazing journey. And Sudesh, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Can you all hear me? Are you
Yes.
guys able to hear me? Okay,
Yes,
very
yes.
good.
Yes, today.
So, guys, Jay, thank you so much for the wonderful session. And as always, you're such a good trainer. And folks, thank you so much. And I guess the last three sessions were really productive. I do want to tell you that these are not like the kind of trainings who are like from the book. These are interview grade trainings we are talking about. Okay, these are the kind of trainings where we're not trying to teach you basics and take you up to the speed. These are interview level grade materials, concepts we are talking about. So we're going to crunch a lot of things over here. There are business analyst people studying for 2 years in college. I don't know why they are studying for 2 years, right? So it's not required. But this is where people come in, they go 0 to 100 in a matter of 10 to 12 weeks, and then we hustle you guys to get you ready for the job. What I really want you guys to understand is to understand this process. You're never going to learn everything on the training. Okay, you're going to learn 99% on the job. Our training will help you the concepts and the readiness to do the job, especially, and also do the interviews really well. First step is interviews, clear the certifications, and when you come to the mock interview level, we're going to scale you guys up. There are different phases of mock interviews are there, so we're going to scale you guys up, and so that you guys will be ready for the interview. Once you get into the job, we will give you job support so that you can finish your contracts really good. Okay, so that's the whole process. So a lot of people are joined already. Okay, I know there are some more people are still seeing if this is for you, and this is why we want to offer these first three sessions so you get to understand us, understand our process, and to see who you're partnering with. I do want to tell you, don't make your life difficult by figuring out yourself. It's not that easy. You really need a partner who can help you from training, quality projects, quality resumes, quality mock interviews, interview questions, and then job prep. And you need resume marketing to get those interview calls, and then get onto the job, and you need some help to clear the project. Everything is an important piece over here. Your training part is just the beginning. All right. And I also want to tell you, you also need to do some self learning too. After the training gets over, when you find time, go through these recordings again. You need to study on those recordings again, concept by concept. Whatever Jay is telling, you need to stop by, use Chat GPT, use Claude, go into more basic, more details. What is MVP? Show me a template. How will a user story look like? What is velocity? Right, and how do user stories get prioritized? What is Fibonacci sequence? So you need to go into that inquisitiveness, curiosity. We need to know to understand various parts of it. What you got to understand is we're trying to get into a role called business analyst in ServiceNow product. Okay, ServiceNow is what is going to get you the job. So it's very important for you to understand two things over here. How do we operate as a BA? What is my deliverables? What are the various tools am I using? And how am I working in an agile framework, software development lifecycle? That's one part. Secondly, I'm going to get a job in ServiceNow. So what are the modules we're talking about, like ITSM? We're talking about HRSD module. We're talking about, and then we're talking about the admin workflow. We're talking about. So these are the kind of scenarios projects are going to come. So you're going to learn this module one by one. What I really want to tell you is don't jump the gun. Jobs are there. Jobs are not going anywhere. The question is, are you ready? If you're not ready, then there's no point if there is a good market of jobs, right? So it's very important that you understand that during the studying process, take it one day at a time. Don't go into future and make yourself anxious. It doesn't work that way. It's very important to have the right mindset to approach this training. So it's very important you take one day at a time, come every other session, be in the environmental learning, and continue to learn all this way. By the time you realize it's going to be 10 to 12 weeks, it'll be over. Are you all following me, guys? Can I have any yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Suresh.
Right?
Yes, Satish, yeah.
Okay. I know. See, what I want to tell you is there are folks who are here with technical background, and there are folks over here who never been in IT. It's all right. Don't get freak out when you see guys from Techfield asking questions. Try to learn what are these kind of questions they're asking for. What are these questions? Explore more on that. The idea is to open your mind to become an analyst role. The goal is by the time you finish your training, by the time you come to the mock interviews, you need to think like an analyst. You may not think like now, but later on, you are going to get there. So be patient. Okay, there's a lot of information going to come your way. It takes time to process. What you don't understand now, you may understand after 2 weeks. You may understand after a week. So please be patient. You are learning two things over here: business analyst deliverables, and you're also learning ServiceNow. Okay, and we have a smart training model. We're going to take you through it. Some of you will get ready fast, some of you will take a little slow. That's okay. You're not in a competition with anybody. Your competition is with you, and we are more than experienced to guide you. Though we come together and train you in a group, but when we support you individually. Okay, every support is custom made. So what I really want to tell you with this, the three complimentary sessions are over. Registrations are open now, and we have 90% of people have already joined the group. We have few more spots available, and even though it's a Sunday tomorrow, the next session is on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern and Central at 7 p.m. Then people are coming in from different time zones, so you must need to follow the EST time zone. We're going to start reaching out to you from tomorrow. My assistant Josh, Thea, or one of me, or somebody's going to reach out to you, start having those conversations one on one to see how we can check out this plan for you. Expect our phone calls, and we'll figure out how we can get you started. And but you must make a financial commitment, to join this program. For the US guys, is 1,450 USD plus tax, but we reduced it to 1,300 plus USD, which is three installments, and which you can conveniently pay. For the Canadian guys, it's 2,000 plus HST, but I'm offering right now for 1,800 plus HST, which comes with three installments. I do want to let you know prices are going up by next batch. Okay, because market is hot. We are the only providers who are helping people to move into ServiceNow as a business process consultant. I'm be more than glad to coach you and mentor you. I know it's getting late, so I'm going to let you guys go. We're going to reach out to you and have effective conversation, and we will get you guys enrolled into this program. Okay. Thank
Hello?
you so much, guys. Thank you, Jay. You have any questions for
Hello?
me? Yes, go ahead,
Yes,
please.
I also missed first two session. So can you send me
Uh-huh.
the all all three together?
Yes, we're gonna send you. Tia, are you there? Tia, Josh, are you guys here?
Hi, Sudesh.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
I'm here.
Hi guys. Can you please make sure we can send all the three sessions links in that email to all of the attendants, please?
Yeah, sure,
Got it.
Sudesh.
Like all the three links, so that they can verify.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is in YouTube channel anyway, guys. But but we
Yep.
will send it out in email. Okay, and make
Yes.
sure you attach the program curriculum also, and
Mm-hmm.
add the US and Canadian prices, installments, and the services and everything. And then we'll start
Mm-hmm.
reaching out to folks and we'll help them out. Okay. Thank you
Okay,
so much,
okay.
guys. Have a great night, and see you guys back on Tuesday. We'll continue to have conversations with you. Have a good night. Thank you, Jay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.